Doug, when you were recruiting Tate Sandell out of the portal, did you know he could do what he did tonight?
Tate it was very super evident to me how special he was at UTSA. He has great technique. What was best when he went in the portal is getting on the phone with him. He's mowing his lawn. And that's the type of young man that he is. He's very blue collar, two great parents, very level-headed, and super talented. So yes, I evaluated him as one of the top returning specialists. And once he got in the portal, shoot, he was my first call.
Doug, what does it say about his confidence that he's able to come into an atmosphere like this and drill, 355 yards?
Another day at the office. Seriously, every kick is a game-winning kick to him. And it's funny because at practice, he'll have a miss, and he's his worst critic and is hard on himself, like to where I don't even need to overemphasize anything other than your plant foot's a little too tight. Gotcha, coach. And then he responds in the exact right way that you hope as a coach.
For a kicker, how much is it, the technique, the physical traits, how much of it is mental?
Gosh, it's everything. Between the ears is everything as a kicker. Because so much is dependent on your snapper and Ben Anderson, Ulrich, the holder, and then the protection was phenomenal. This was no easy test with Tennessee bearing down in full send rush, but to answer your question, it is very much mental. His technique is very good. He is seldom having errors in his technique, and the best part about him is what's between his ears. And he knows if there is a mishit, exactly before I even open my mouth, he knows exactly what the error was.
Is it hard to know sometimes with guys, like if you're recruiting a kicker, if they've got that or not between the ears?
Yeah, I mean, you ultimately learn when you're in the fire. And so Tate wasn't here, so he had to be learned through the fire, but Coach Venables designs it to where the whole team's up at the end of practice, and conditioning's on the line, let alone in front of your peers, to kick. And so that's a great atmosphere and a great example of him proving it in practice to then putting it on the field in game day reality.
What's the limit of his range that you guys would be comfortable with?
It's funny, and I'm smiling because I always get up. The only time I really get upset is when it becomes these, as I call them, logo shots, right? From the midfield logo. Because very much the specialists love to have banter and gamesmanship in pregame where you're worried about that they're just showing like, yeah, I got a 60-yarder under the belt. But my man Tate, he'll do that on any given day. So his range is, as Coach Venables would say, don't ever put limits on him. He's got a tremendous leg, and ultimately, he just wants the opportunity. Field goal, I'm trying to go 1 for 1, and that's the best part about him.
You said you don't know until they're in the fire. When did you know with Tate that you had the guy that's nails between the ears?
Oh, fall camp. He earned it in practice. So he wasn't afforded spring ball, but in fall camp, and that's what I'm talking about. Anytime we have team reps and we're going good against good, field goal, and he's out there, let it rip, and he did. And same with Austin Welch and same with Liam Evans that are on our roster. I mean, they have sharpened Tate as a result that goes unnoticed because they haven't been out here to then perform. But in practice, boy, oh boy, they have not relinquished their chances in practice, and they've made to where Tate goes, I can't miss because I've got these guys, iron sharpens iron, in practice to have to compete against.
Doug, 3/4 of the way through the season, how do you feel like your unit as a whole, special teams, is performing?
Well, we had a hiccup on punt team. We had 10 guys out there. A true freshman doesn't go out there in Elijah Thomas, and that's one you want to have back because Elijah Thomas, Chakotah, Oklahoma, you want to talk about special, and I entrust him with a lot. He's our gunner, our end on punt. He doesn't go out there on the field, and all of a sudden Peyton Bowen's looking at me as a true junior going, I'll go. Yeah, and then we get a 5-yard delay a game, right? That's unacceptable. However, there's a lot of room for growth. We've had too many penalties at the end on kickoff. I think Danny's too aggressive in terms of he literally sheds the Tennessee player and it gets called for a face mask. So that's unacceptable. However, Oklahoma Sooners on special teams are aggressive, they're brave, and they play their butts off. And ultimately, that's how they're coached, and ultimately I need to clean that up because that'll cost us, because here we are, and now we have to do two hands teams reps. So moving forward, that's my messaging to the players, but ultimately it is the best to coach them. I have never worked a day in my life coaching football, and certainly here at Oklahoma, we've got the finest young men that run down the field with their hair on fire and absolutely love playing football because they're here to win, and that has never been an issue with buy-in. Those are things I need to clean up on special teams because those will cost us. That will definitely cost you. However, these guys play their butts off and they are super talented, and so getting them in the right position to play. Talk about a hands team rep, Robert Spears Jennings, the onside left to our left. I mean, da-na-na, da-na-na. I mean, just two hands, plucks it out of the air because the player's going to cut off our outside player. That's players making plays, and they all look at me and they go, that was the 2022 rep of their onsides that you showed us at practice. I said, no, that's players making plays. And then Ivan Carrion on the last hands, you know, I mean, that's players making plays, and we've got a fine group here at Oklahoma and only upwards, so a lot to improve on, specifically not hurting ourselves with penalties. And then secondly is like being the competitive advantage to help us win. Certainly field goal unit did that, the 9 guys blocking, then obviously the holder putting it down, and Tate is nails. Man, he's a lot of fun to watch, isn't he?
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks,